Hi, this is Lucy Larson, Manager of Museum Experience and Interpretation at the San Jose Museum of Art. SJMA is proud to present the series Artist of the Week, featuring artists from our permanent collection. The interviews you hear were conducted in December 2006. We hope you enjoy the series and subscribe to SJMA's podcast. For our first Artist of the Week, we chose Hung Lu, one of SJMA's most collected artists. Born in China, Lu now lives and works in Oakland, California. As well as a prolific artist, Lu teaches at Mills College. Providing additional professional and personal insight, we also interviewed Jeff Kelly. Kelly is an art critic, curator of contemporary Asian art, and Lu's husband of 22 years.
At a certain level of professional achievement, artists become known for their work, and the work is known as being that artist's, and that can be because they've developed a way of making the work, a style of painting, a vocabulary of forms and materials, and a focus on particular subject matter over time. So they invent something. It's like inventing a language. And when you come into contact with that language, you recognize that it's spoken by this artist and not that artist.
What I do is I just look at a lot of materials, and sometimes, when you surf channel, watch TV, if you have no idea what's showing, something catches you, right? It's like, what is this? Same thing visually. There are always some images speak stronger voice. So for me, I think it's very important. Something moved me first. You see story interpreted from beginning to end, narratives, but some story doesn't have that. Just, even somebody's face full of stories, but untold, but you feel that. So I love to look at a photograph, so like, wow, who's this woman? Where is this? What is, especially bad photographs, like what is behind her is like blurry, tree, what is this? What is that? And all that kind of, you yourself start to erode this surface, try to peel off, to excavate more information.
I think the American part of the work is that she was able to kind of loosen up the socialist realist training that she had. She learned how to paint in a kind of neoclassicist way in China in the service of state propaganda. But then after coming to the U.S. in 1984, she slowly began to kind of loosen up her hand and mind, I think. And the way she painted became, well, it evolved into the kind of drippy veil of strokes and marks that the work is known for today. So it's almost like a kind of dissolution of socialist realism.
And then the next step is like, I have some great images. They move me deeply. And then I will say, well, I really want to do a painting. But if I do this tiny bit, it's like a newspaper or some kind of photograph. It doesn't have the kind of power. I want them big. I want them really in your face, and you cannot deny them, even though they were nobody. They were anonymous, they poor, probably they long gone. But I think somewhat they're more important than our great leader, Chairman Mao, more important than Bush, than anybody, because who cares about their faces? But this is real.
When she came to the U.S., in 1984, she came at a time when there was quite a lot of energy still in the air regarding feminism. So she kind of came smack dab into American feminist-inspired multiculturalism and was greeted warmly by a lot of very important women historians and critics and artists. And I think that's something that she hadn't had in China either. So I think Hung came to a place where She could not only loosen up her sense of what art was and how to make it, but she could also be an artist whose subject matter tended to embrace the experiences, points of view of women, and the idea of women as photographed subjects, and thus as objects. So, there's a feminist thing there too that was not present in China.
Showa is a big documentary on the Holocaust during World War II. Overall, the Holocaust in Europe was written, was documented, was talked about throughout the world. But there was another battleground in the Far East. Japanese occupied China since actually way before World War II started here, since 1931. First occupied northeast China, Manchuria, where my family was from. It's still not as well known as Holocaust. So I used the name Showa. The image first, the three women were from a photograph from World War II of women from the south, very south, like Hainan Dao, Hainan Island. And so each of them was holding some kind of like a makeshift weapons to fight enemies with a kind of a courage and determinations, like to protect our homeland, our homes. And behind there, the whole landscape, actually, first of all, is a piece of a red silk, like bright red silk. And then the film on top of the silk was a blow-up image of a mass grave in Nanking. I think in 2 or 3 week period, about 250,000 people killed in Nanking alone. Just women raped, and the soldiers even surrendered or killed. They just didn't have the time or weapon to kill them, just too many. So they, sometimes like they use machine guns, sometimes they just, Japanese dug a giant hole, put everybody there and buried them alive. This is, if you look carefully, it's not just a general landscape. So it's like this 3 women almost like a guardian angels or warriors to fight, like they arise again above the ashes or something like that.